Behind me, I'm going to walk you guys through this command build that we are sending out today. I'm going to walk kind of like through the exterior, through different segments, and I'm going to kind of explain this unit to you. So we have a backwoods front bumper that's a non-bull. It's outfitted with SAE approved fog pods on the outside and spots on the inside. And we are sitting here with 4 police lights that flash red and blue on the bumper. And then whenever we move up top, we have a front light bar for vision down the road. And then we've got the 2 forward-facing PD lights as well. This unit has awnings on both sides. It has scene lighting all the way around the perimeter. So pod lights that go on each side so that you can turn those on and off for different things, loading, unloading, for surveillance, for whatever the case might be. You're able to see the entire perimeter outside this unit. You still have the PD lights, red and blues all the way around on the top. And then on bottom, we have them again on the back bumper. On the side, we have a handful of features here that allow us to be able to do a few things. We have 110 outlets, we have HDMI in and out, and we have Ethernet in and out. Over here, we've got passenger side. We got a keypad for passenger side light bar, so we can turn on and off features that are a part of the exterior of the build. We have those on the outside of the unit. As we work towards around the back, we have a Illuminous Deluxe box that gives the ability to have an exterior storage and has the ability of locking. And on the driver's side, we have a 30 amp shore power hookup. So this is what you'll do to charge the vehicle. And then this is a ground solar connection that gives you additional solar power into your solar controller, which will charge the battery system. This goes in through the vehicle, and that gives you what you need. And so this is the driver's side setup with the awning, scene lights, and red and blue flashers. So I'll walk you guys from the front of the unit back. And so starting kind of like up here at the front, we've got a pull around curtain that allows you to be able to have security, and it pulls around from both sides, and you can pull it around and be able to fully enclose the front cabin seats into the back compartment. And so we push these around. The other thing is that for the front swivel seats, both seats swivel. What you have to do is we have to power the seat up and take it as tall as we possibly can. Kind of just keep going here. Okay, now we're all the way up. So now what we want to do is on the back side of the swivel seat, there's a pull pin right here. So this pull pin allows us to pop it and spin it. So once you release it, this allows you to be able to pull the seat around. And then I can kind of model this for you to where we pull the curtain around the back side. We can shut the front door, and I'm able to sit in here with my Lagoon top, and I can sit in here with my cup holder on the right side, and I can sit and work in privacy all the way around. If we pull the other one around, this one swivels as well. It allows us to be able to be a part of the rear section of the build. So I'll rotate this out of my way. Up top, we have some components that are provided by the customer. This is our matrix, which is a 16 by 16 matrix, and I'll be able to do a walkthrough of that in a minute. As we work our way back, we have overhead storage on both sides. Every one of these is locking on both sides, and so we have different compartments all the way back. And then up here, we have a double stack 34-inch curved monitors. And back here, we have 6 28-inch standard monitors. Now, what's really cool about how this customer set this up is with the Matrix, they added a PC just here that's actually fixed mounted behind the screen with another dock here with 4 HDMIs going to the Matrix. And then as we rotate this back, it is one Type-C that goes to your computer. You plug this into your computer, and you can take those 4 HDMI inputs and put them wherever you want them. Now, as we move back, we have radios that are provided by the customer, their phone connected through their system, and below here, we have 3 locking drawers that can able to open and close. You push them in, push them out. And then also this top here is actually locked in, but for most customers, this will actually hinge, and you can see here that there's hinge points, and this is allowed to be able to fold up. They never planned to do that, and so we actually fixed this so there was not a cable in the front for that swivel seat. The other area up here in the front is a slide out tray to be able to load things onto. Lock it back. And then we also have another pull out drawer. As we go backwards in the build and we kind of work our way back, you have 3 fold down countertops that just unlock. So we can fold these out of the way. And these give you ability of having ample space. On the passenger side, we have storage compartments. So you pop the lock, lift it up, and these are just big, large, just open for tote bags, flares, whatever the case might be. You have that space for you. Close those, and those are 2 different hatches. Whiteboard and then accessory boards, because this customer wants to be able to attach different options and different items to this wall. Again, just storage above both side tops. And on the roof, you've got dual air conditioners for these larger builds like this to be able to give you air conditioning with multiple bodies in high temperatures. You have S-bar heater that kicks out heat at the rear. And then you have the power system that is underneath this compartment. Again, kind of like the front, behind these screens is your different controls and different systems. Now, a lot of customers want to add their own tech. So up here, we've given a distribution panel, and this is dual setup bricks for radios and a cradle point that was provided by the customer. It comes all through a pass and is all distributed down. And then they have a very simple PoE switch as well that allows Ethernets going to the docks, to the phones, to all their different devices throughout the build. And then what we do is we run this cable tray all the way down, and it runs from front to back of the vehicle. So what that gives us is a good way to be able to add lines, add components, whatever the case might be. We have a good way of doing that. Then the back pillar also has some of those additional ports to be able to put different things like drone controllers, laptops for additional inputs back here at the back, and run through the matrix that gives you those different controls. Now throughout the build, inside and out, we have these keypads. So where, as I mentioned before, we can control features at different spots of the build to give you a lot of abilities of controlling and changing the setup and the scenery. The last thing I'll kind of show you is whenever we're looking over here, you can look out here, and what we can see is that for compartment lights and different controls, we can do some controlling from the system. So you have day mode, we have night mode, and what we can do is we can also do an all off. It's a one single button off that allows you to be able to just kill the whole system. So it's ease of use. Wake it back up, turn back on day mode, and now you're back and raring to go. So keypads at the front driver's seat, slider, rear, and exterior. This is similar to this, but it gives you controls like monitoring your batteries. It gives you the ability of seeing what kind of power you have coming in from the vehicle. There's a lot of different things that allow you this capability, and it gives you a lot of support and adding just componentry to the build. All right, so I'm going to walk you guys through the power system to notate a few things if you get in trouble, need to troubleshoot, and need a better understanding of the system. Right here on the back pillar is your 110 power distribution. This is your breakers for all of your different outlets. This is a good telltale sign to be able to know if your outlets are operating and or working. I'm going to take you down here. This is your battery system. So you have your dual battery set up in here, along with your Mac 50s that charge your vehicle. Now over here, you can see you got 2 yellow buttons, and right in there they are pressed in. These are battery safeties. So these are just big relays. Each one of them is individually attached to a battery. If it's pushed in, that means the battery is connected. If it is open, meaning flush, that means that battery has opened itself up, maybe from something's not quite right. It doesn't like what's happening. It doesn't like what's happening within the BMS, or it's just simply out of power. So when it gets to a certain state of charge, these will open. Now, starting the vehicle or plugging into shore power will close these as long as they're actually not in a safety. So if they're open, they probably still have 10% of battery reserve. If they've dropped below that battery reserve, it requires us to get them reconnected to where they'll function to make sure that they're safe and able to be used. This is your master switch. So this master switch actually disconnects from here to your power system. So if these are closed, if your yellow buttons are closed, your relays are closed, meaning power's coming from your batteries, you can still disconnect your batteries to save the charge if you throw this. Now, there's a couple things that I'll talk through here in a second that gives you the ability of knowing and operating that system. Now, this van is a large laptop. To reset it, you have a couple ways. If you get into the unit, you fire it up, and you say, hey, I'm not getting, say, a blue screen on my matrix. I don't have outlet power. That can mean that the inverters went into a sleep mode. It can mean that something faulted and threw an error in your inverter, or you're just simply out of power and nothing will power up. So what we can do is there's a handful of things. One thing is when you come to the screen, your batteries are going to tell you what state of charge they're at. So if you're at a good state of charge, you can look in here and you can question, do I have everything I need operating and running? So this is a good telltale sign of what's going on. Now, let's just say that you do not have outlet power. Outlets are not working. What you need to do is you need to make sure the vehicle is off. You need to make sure you're not plugged into shore power. And you need to come back down here to the red master switch and you need to turn it off. When you turn it off, that's killing all power. It's like the power button on your laptop. When you click and hold that, it's just a reset. Sometimes in these systems, when they set idle, they get in different situations with power and only so much power draw. Devices like to go into sleep. And sometimes our inverters get in a weird rhythm where they don't want to wake back up. You simply have to cycle them by making sure that you turn the vehicle off, you're not plugged into shore power, and you turn this off for about 1 minute. Then, making sure that these are closed, you turn this back green, and then you will wait for the system, and the system will reboot. When the system reboots, you will start to see, and hopefully you start to get devices back online. Your screen will light up, your keypads will light up. And when you do that, you're going to be able to see things like the matrix go back blue. If you are functioning and you have 110 outlets and you have your keypads operational, you are good. And so that is just a good way of knowing if you need a quick reset. Remember, this is a big laptop. Treat it that way. All right, so there's a few ways that this vehicle charges. It charges off of solar power. It charges from shore, which is that line outside that connects to a 30 amp. And then you also have on this unit charging from the factory alternator. Up here on your screen, you're going to see car voltage. You're going to see alternator 1 and alternator 2. You see right now these are all zeros. I'm going to hold tight here and I'm going to start the vehicle. So now as the vehicle turns up, let's give it a second here. So you're seeing them update. So you just saw the car voltage jump, and it is starting to trigger your other devices. Now, right now, we're pretty topped off with power, so you can tell that you have 43 amps coming in on alternator 2. And so it's right now at 43 amps, which is really good based on just how full the batteries currently are. Now, if you come over here and you can see state of charge, you can see current, and you know that it says time to charge instead of time left. When you have that time to charge, it really helps kind of show you what the different abilities are. So, that gives you a good overview that if you are or not connected. So right now, we are not connected. So if I cycle power, we're going to see this jump here. and now you see these alternators come back online. And so this is just a way to know what these numbers are doing, and it gives you ability of seeing if you're charging and or not charging. So I'm going to walk you guys through the matrix. So on the top row, you have all of your inputs. On the bottom row, you have all your outputs. Inputs are your devices sending things to the matrix. Outputs is what's coming out of the matrix going to the screens. Now, on each screen, you will see a number. So this says out 7, out 8. What you're also going to see is that all the inputs, you're going to see in numbers. So for this front area, this dock that runs to this type C is input 9 through 12. So let's say I want to set up that dock to operate screens. So let's just take these 4 screens. I got out 5, out 6, out 7, out 8. And remember, I am in 9 through 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say input 9, which turns green, and I'm going to go to output 5, which is the top left screen in the 4 square. I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to say done. Then I'm going to go 10, and I'm going to go out 6, enter. I'm going to go 11, 7, enter, and then I'm going to go 12, 8, enter. That gives me the ability of now taking these 4 screens, and they are now coming from those 4 HDMIs at that dock. Now, let's take another further step, and let's say, hey, I want to put one of these HDMIs from this dock across 2 screens, one at the very back, so top left being number 1, and let's say out 7. So again, this dock is in 9, let's say. So input 9, and then I want that input from my laptop to go to screen 1 and screen 7. You just select which screens, hit enter. They are going to say done, and they're going to flash. So now that HDMI that's coming out of that dock is going to go to those 2 screens. And so this kind of gives you a good walkthrough of you can assign things however you want. Remember, you have HDMIs at the back, HDMIs outside, inside, or input, outputs. And so kind of based on where you're connected tells you what your ins are, but you can take whatever input you want and put it wherever you want. If you want your back pillar, let's say, let me just go look at it real quick. So input 15. So this guy here is input 15. I can go back up here and I can say, hey, it's a demo van. I just want that to say Van Do It across every screen. I can click 15 all, and it will put it on every single screen, the exact same image that's on that input. So what we can do is we can assign however you want. So if the dock is hooked up at the back 4, it can be going to any 4 monitors. You can also hook up a dock and you can disable 2 of them through your computer and only use 2. So the choice is yours how you work through the matrix.